Thank you so much. I'm here with Jay Parikh. How you doing, my friend?
I'm great. How are you?
Fantastic. So it's been a whirlwind couple of weeks, and as everyone knows, AI weeks are like months in old school software. Can you help us unpack what's gone on with GitHub Universe and now here at Microsoft Ignite?
Yeah, absolutely. So we had GitHub Universe a few weeks ago, and now we're here at Microsoft Ignite. And what we're really trying to do is put together a set of systems, tools, technology that's going to allow builders to build these agentic AI applications, to then deploy them at scale, and then to be able to operate them in the enterprise in these very unique and sort of customized environments. So what we saw at GitHub Universe and the team produced and launched was a set of new AI capabilities to really reinvent the entire tool chain for developing software. So things like Agent HQ, things like mission control, being able to build custom agents. Then here at Ignite, we're talking about being able to bring together your enterprise knowledge and your web search information with your agents. Then you're able to deploy those into production and be able to orchestrate those agents and then operate them. What's really important for most organizations is you have to be able to observe them. You have to be able to debug them. You have to be able to secure them. So that's how we're composing all of these different components. And we want to unlock much more richer AI and agentic applications in the enterprise.
I love the framing of, because I'm a builder guy. I love making software, but just the act of making software is not enough. The framing you have is build, deploy, and operate. Let's unpack each one of those, starting with build, and tell us a little bit about how AI is not only helping people build, but maybe even helping people build other kinds of cool experiences. Tell us about that a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. So in build, really the focus there is all of the different tools and kind of the components that you need to be able to build this variety of different applications with this new application stack, right? Where models are at the center here. We're going to allow you to pick across 11,000 different models. We're going to give you those agents. And today, you can delegate a task in GitHub Copilot to have that agent go finish a task or help you with a task. And more advanced developers, engineers out there are taking a team of agents and deploying them on a much more complex project or program that they need to be able to go build, right? So just the amount of capability help you get as a builder to be able to then, for example, instead of just build one prototype, why not build 5 prototypes, right?
Yeah.
I could do that virtually in parallel at the same time. Then I could play with these different things. I could user test them and see which one I like more, and then go to the deploy phase and then be able to operate that.
I love, I hadn't even considered that. I recently started doing the full vibe coding. Someone taught me how to do it. And it's impressive. They're like, Seth, just let it do its thing. Go do another task. Go back to it. But the fact that you can maybe start with 3 or 4 or 5 prototypes, in that regard, it's got to be game changing.
Absolutely. I think it just unlocks that creativity at the next level inside the enterprise. I think it allows these teams inside of an organization to collaborate differently as well, because you're able to think more outside the box, so to speak, right? And basically time compresses. If I had to do these 5 different prototypes all serially in the old way, now I can do them in parallel. So I can drive that top line value delivery to my customers much, much faster.
Yeah, and I love the idea of how AI is helping you build experiences, but also AI can help you change the experiences you're building for other people. I know it's nuanced, but you're writing code, AI is helping, but the experiences you can develop for people are also different. Tell us about some of the things that you've seen in people building with AI that have built good experiences for other people.
Yeah, absolutely. So, we have many customers who are using AI to build differently, right?
Yeah.
Where there are small teams moving quickly. We have one customer that I was meeting with a couple of weeks ago, and they talked about how they sketched out this new project to revamp their consumer application. And that project was going to take them 11 weeks normally in the normal software development lifecycle kind of way of working. They used GitHub Copilot, and a small team basically got that project done in 5 weeks. right? So they're able to bring major new capabilities to their consumer-facing application in dramatically less time.
That's cool. So let's talk about so I know we can use AI to build good experiences, but you can also use models in the apps that you give to your customers, changing experiences with AI. Have you seen any cool experiences of people building stuff that has AI, but for the customer?
Yeah, lots of stuff is happening, and what I think is really cool is we're moving beyond just building internal assistants or chatbots
Yes.
or things that hang off of a website somewhere. But now these are things that are actually doing the end-to-end task, right? So if I can basically, for example, we have, even internally at Microsoft, we have an SRE agent, right?
Yeah.
And that basically helps our engineering teams manage a bunch of routine kind of operational tasks, right? And that is able to just work 24/7, be able to really drive to meeting the intent of the production system, right? And that then frees up that time so that the engineers and the builders in our team can go work on new capabilities and delivering more value to our ecosystem and customers.
Yeah, and I love the idea that AI is not only helping me as a developer write experiences, but putting AI into experiences for others is also awesome. So we talked about build. Let's talk about deploy and operate, those two things. I don't know if they go hand in hand. Would you describe, how is AI helping us in that area?
Well, I think for us, it's these are stages where, as customers start to build more significant things that have higher ROI inside of the organization, then being able to deploy them safely, securely, being able to have them interact with humans, because you want to be able to have human in the loop on a number of these things. And then on the operate side, it's, we want to put these out there. You need to be able to observe them, right? You need to see if they're on track, how much they're, how fast or slow they are, how reliable they are. So all of our work in trustworthy AI and responsible AI to make sure those systems, when they're operating at scale, in production, doing real business functions, are on track, and that they're delivering the right results, they're doing it fast enough, they're doing it accurately enough. So those two go hand in hand.
Right.
But there is the taking this thing that you've built and being able to deploy it in the rest of your enterprise, right?
Yes.
Having that system be able to run it and orchestrate the agents that are having them discover tools, other MCP services as well, being able to connect them into our security systems like Entra, so that you can keep track and that when an agent is doing some task in the enterprise, that you can treat it, manage it, and operate it like you would an employee or an application.
Yeah, yeah, and I love the idea, because one of the things that I've seen people do is hey, I want this thing to be deployed, but I want it to be able to use my SharePoint or use my Word doc or use it. So deploying is actually not a trivial thing. You got to do it correctly, and we're helping with that a little bit, aren't we?
Correct. And with Foundry, we're bringing in that enterprise data now and web data, web grounding, so that your agents now we raise the level of intelligence that the agents can operate in, and they have that context that's important for your business, for your team, for your function, for your business processes.
I love it. So we're now straying into the area of operate. Tell us what it means to have operate on these things and make sure that they're doing the right thing.
Yeah, in an enterprise, it's so important to know what these new applications, these AI agents, are doing in the enterprise, right? And they're thinking, they're reasoning,
Yes.
they're planning, they're calling tools, right? So they're a different function. It's a different entity inside of the enterprise. And so providing very rich, very breadth-wise and depth-wise information to the enterprise will allow them to, one, make sure these things are accurate, that they're fitting their cost parameters, their performance parameters, and that they're learning from it, right? Because being able to provide traces and that debug information as you're iterating and building agents and revising that code that goes behind these agents, you want to be able to base that on how this thing is operating in your enterprise and taking that very, very detailed granular data, if you need to, to fine-tune maybe a prompt, or to maybe change which tools it's calling, or to provide access to another data source that will allow that agent to perform better.
Yeah, and I think it's cool because like now that we have these agents doing this work, it's unlocking this new era of builders with AI. Tell us about how this technology is helping make everyone a builder.
Yeah, absolutely. I just think that it's so amazing because in the past you could only see certain functions and certain trained employees in an enterprise be able to do this type of development activity. Now with AI and the tools that we're building and other people are building, it makes this stuff way more approachable, right?
Yeah.
And you're able to use agent mode in GitHub Copilot or in Excel or these other products and be able to really harness and bring in AI more than just being able to chat with it. You're able to now delegate an entire task to this Copilot, to this agent, or you're able to have a team of agents perform a much more complex workflow or task inside of the enterprise. And these things are you're able to do them with basically UI.
Yeah.
You can kind of compose them with like diagrams and flow charts, or you can drop in a code and provide much more advanced capabilities as well. And you get help on writing the code because you can use AI to help you write the code too.
Yeah, and this to me has been really cool as I've started to go into because like where I work, we all work in the same, we have a priority of like, hey, let's figure out how to use AI together
everything.
so that we, and the cool thing is that as I've been leaning into that, I've been learning that I can do more in different ways that I had never thought I could do before. Are people experiencing that as well in other places?
Yeah, and for sure. And I think if you're not, then you're probably falling behind,
Yeah.
right? So I think we're all trying to learn. This world, this AI technology is moving at super, super fast speed. And for us to keep pushing ourselves to, are you an AI user where you're surprised by what AI gives you, right? In which case, you probably should push yourself to use it more.
Yes.
You should push the AI to do more for you. You should raise your level of sort of expectation, ambition. And there's another set of people who are throwing a lot at the AI systems, the tools, and they're like disappointed sometimes because it's not doing what they want it to do. But then they're able to stay curious and they're able to try again. Maybe in 2 weeks, something happens in the model or the technology or with MCP that then that task that wasn't accomplishable 2 weeks ago now is something they can accomplish, or they experiment with different models, or so like constantly pushing yourself to be curious and to be trying and to really make sure your level of ambition is keeping up with and how fast the advancements are happening is really, really critical.
And I love the advice as I'm hearing it, is if you are like I am, and now I'm moving into I'm pushing it a little bit. If you're surprised by what it's doing, that's awesome. Push a little bit more.
Push more.
And this kind of situation now, though, because of the way that everyone is now a builder, requires some organizational thinking about how you might change your organization to enable this kind of thing. Tell us about that.
Yeah, I think it's an evolution. I think we're all figuring this out, right? Because it is, one, the technology and the ecosystem is moving super, super fast, right? I was talking to some startups in a visit that I had a couple weeks ago, and it was really interesting because one of the founders was asking me and saying, hey, what we found in the past is that our developers, our engineers, would need about 15 to 20% of their time to learn new technology, right? But now they're actually measuring it, and with their team, they're saying that actually they need 50% of their time to keep up with the changing landscape, right? So to think about how much more time these teams, these like fast-moving teams need to be spending in just keeping up and learning what different models are, different scaffolding, components, the ecosystem. So that's like a pretty big shift in terms of learning time for an organization. I think the other thing that's really, really critical, we just talked about this, but really making sure that the incentives, that the culture in the team is about, one, freeing up time to go learn, but then also when you free up time, because you can use AI to like burn down that toil time.
Yes.
But now when you free up that time, learn and also just push the AI systems the tools to do more, right? Because that's how you're going to learn faster. If you are most of the time interacting with an AI system, a co-pilot, and you're like, whoa, that's amazing, you're probably not using it enough. You're probably not giving it hard enough tasks. You should be more curious, and I think that's going to just help advance the transformation of an organization. But the last thing I'll say here is, like, in almost every conversation I have with a customer, a prospect, a partner, the topic of cultural evolution transformation comes up, right? All of the leaders, we're all trying to navigate this. We all got to kind of share, work together, be curious about this, because it is fast moving, it is changing in a complex system together. So there's a lot of learning that we still have yet to do.
I love the idea, though, of like getting AI, like starting a task, and then go and learning when it's doing all the tasks, go and learn some more, and then don't be surprised, because if you're surprised, then maybe you need to push it more.
Give it more.
Do you have it? We have about 30 seconds. Do you have a quick example of like how you've seen this change the way you do work?
Yeah, I think it's, for me, it's like in everything I do, right? Because I think, okay, this is how I would have done the task before, whether it be help me outline a strategy for the product, right? Or a part of our product. And I might have some like loose resemblance of things, and I'd go through this process that I have, talking to people, writing it down, throwing it a paper away, writing it down. And here I can just iterate much more quickly with Copilot, and I can say, hey, actually, here's the breadcrumbs of the strategy. Actually, write me 3 different versions of the strategy, right? And then I can kind of look ABC, and then I can, blend this, and then there's something that comes out of here. But I'm able to actually run 3 different kind of thought processes on like a product strategy, or 5, right? And that is pretty cool. That's not a way I used to work before, but now being able to do this, I think, really unlocks more and more creativity, and I think it brings humans and us as coworkers closer together and drives that collaboration.
Well, Jay, thanks for spending some time with us, buddy.
Thank you, Seth. Great to see you.
Yeah, we'll see you in a little bit. Thank you so much.